Hello, everyone. Hopefully, we are live and you can see us.
Evening, guys.
How are
Hopefully
you,
we're live.
how are
Hopefully
you
it's
doing,
working.
Andy? How are you going?
Good, mate. Yeah, very nice. Yeah, nice Sunday of football again. So enjoyed it. What about you?
Yeah, it's not been bad. I haven't seen any football today. I've been out most of the day, unfortunately, but it looks like I didn't miss much of a big game there with that Southampton win. Bit of a shock.
Yeah, I think City dominated. I didn't see the second half, but City were dominating first half, and I think they pretty much dominated second half as well. So
Bit of a shock. Oh,
yeah, I think City dominated.
got you double on my phone. They're going off. All right. Well, yeah, I had Foden and Kevin De Bruyne, so that was a bit of a write-off for me. They both come on for the last 20 minutes or half an hour, but ended up with 70 something because of Martial captain, so did all right.
Yeah, I mean I benched KDB, which I'm pretty proud about doing. So
That is a brave call, man. I mean, I would never. Well, I say that I benched Aubameyang, but Kevin De Bruyne scares me to death. But you got it right.
Yeah, completely. I just thought it was going to be benched and maybe get a 20-minute cameo. So it was a risk, paid off. Like it. I've just seen your head. When did you shave your head?
I did that earlier today. My kids went mental on it. It was in honour of Dwight York, my hero. I thought I'd try and match his hairstyle as best I could. No, it won't really. I just do it every now and then. My hair gets bored. I get bored of having long hair, and obviously the hairdressers. Although I think they might actually be coming back now, like this week, right? So I kind of timed that pretty badly. But
yeah, I mean, I've booked the barbers for 10 days time, so I can't wait to get all this trimmed. Like it's an absolute state. I just let it grow from lockdown.
I'll be honest. If I saw you on the street, I'd cross the road, Andy.
I'll be asking you for money, I think, with this.
Oh god, the insults have started already.
Chucking change at me if they saw me out, I think.
Yeah. Although to be honest, I'd like a penny for your thoughts if you can predict stuff like that, Kevin De Bruyne. So hopefully you can do the same on Champ Man now with your insight. Just don't mention Harry Kewell again.
No, mate, that killed everyone again. Harry Kewell owners when he's seeing Solana getting 27, and you got Harry Kewell Saturday. What did he get? 4 or 5 points? Was it?
I think he got. Yeah, they didn't get a clean sheet, did they? I think he got 4 points. I don't think he got any bonus. I've got him. He might have got one. I can't remember.
Yeah, they got one clean sheet, didn't they? First game.
Oh, he got 5. Then that's where it came from.
5,
yeah, he's got 5. Right. Let's. There's obviously a lot of games to review. There's a lot of news to get through. Hopefully the chat's working. I can't really tell on my phone. I think people are.
Yeah, everyone's in Perlo's beard, Storm Legacy, Pep Talk, Ron Rid 9. Evening, everyone. Tala Nadim's in. Tala, the legend,
the main man.
Good to see you, mate. Excellent work on the stats today.
Yeah. Also, just for you guys, Sean, who creates the website, who actually triple captained Viduka this week. I think he was 15th highest scoring manager overall. I saw him put a tweet out saying, can he sneakily disable everyone else's bench boosters and triple captains and pretend that they didn't play it properly just so he could get the game week 1 rank? So count yourself lucky that he didn't activate that, because the power is his to do so.
Amazing, so good.
Right, let's get on. Let's start right at the beginning. We'll go with Derby Newcastle. Obviously, this was a bit of a shock to everyone who loaded up on Derby assets. Yeah, I mean, the leak that you gave out, Andy, as well, of Kinclardzy starting, I mean, we just didn't know what to do with that. And in the end, he ended up playing in midfield. So it was so weird. I don't know what your thinking was behind that.
I mean, me and David had an argument about it, because the first game, obviously, there's a lot of Derby players being dropped. So if we leaked half the team and where they played and who was out, would it put everyone off? And we didn't want to do too much anyway for the triple game week. So
yeah, that's true. And in the end, most of the well-owned assets did pretty well, apart from the forwards, I would suggest. I find it funny that Ravanelli ended on 4 points in the end.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, he was probably the most likely to start all 3, given that Christie was on 88% going into this. So when you have combined that with the league that Kinclardzy plays, and you probably think he might play up front, you think, well, Ravanelli's probably going to play this game and then obviously maybe play the other 2. And he ends up being the lowest scoring thing. So that was the only kick in the teeth for people who went there.
I mean, those that went with Derby forwards, they've had a bit of a shocker, really. I mean, Christie got an assist, didn't he?
He got 1 assist and played 3 games, but obviously came off before 60 here with a 1-pointer, so not ideal. When the problem was, I suppose, that a lot of the other forwards that people would have taken out of their team went on and did pretty well. I mean, Dwight York. I took Dwight York out for a -4 for Alan Shearer. Never did I ever think that would backfire. I mean, I thought York might score against Fulham, don't get me wrong. I thought he might get 1, which he did. But to see Shearer not score over these 2 games and end up being, I think, 1 point down overall by doing that move, I'd never expected that.
Absolutely crazy. I mean, the fixtures that Newcastle had, I did fancy probably Shearer over Viduka. I think that I probably would have still captained a Derby player though, probably Valicari, just because the three fixtures.
Wow.
That's what I would have gone.
I don't know what he ended on because I don't have him. He's my worst enemy, the one who kind of brought my rank a bit down to ground zero. But I know he scored quite a lot, didn't he? At least something like 20 points, somewhere around there.
I think 17 maybe, I believe, 17, 18.
Wow, yeah. I mean, what other game in the world can you have a Derby DM score you 18 points in a triple game week? It just wouldn't happen, would it, anywhere else? But there we go. In terms of this game, obviously not a lot of these guys were owned, and we've got a lot of games to get through, so there's not really too much to mention in terms of the stats here. Poom did okay on the day. The game was fairly even. Derby probably a tad unlucky not to get a goal here, you would say, with 6 shots on target, and the game was exactly 50-50 on possession. In terms of Newcastle, obviously, well, nearly all of their team went off in this game. Calamarchi only lasted 52, but I don't think many would have got for him. But obviously Dyer was the main man with the brace, and then Solano with a goal and assist, and those two obviously went on to continue to do that in the next game as well. So the triple that would have worked out the best, I think, on points is Solano, Dyer, Barton maybe. I think that might be the best 3 that you could have gone for, which I don't think many would have done.
Barton got 14 points. Barton was still quite differential. I don't think many switched to Barton from Leeds defenders, but even Leeds defenders did well. So
yeah, and my final move that I made for my hit was whether I was going to go Stubbs for a -4 or Barton, and I decided to go Stubbs simply because I felt he was more nailed. Like Barton moving on, there is Gallivan who can play right back, there is Solano can actually drop to right back, as we saw when he was actually fit at the beginning of the season. It happened, I think, once at least. So I thought, he's a little bit less nailed. I don't want a headache later on. I'll go for Stubbs, but it turned out to be the wrong move. Obviously, Barton killed it. I think Stubbs only got like 3 points or something.
And Besadas as well, that was unlucky. I think that's not a bad pick. I mean, any of that midfield, Besadas, Solano, Robert, Dyer, they could have all picked up what Solano did.
Exactly. I've said it so many times. We could rerun this triple game week and we could see the other players go off. It's largely a lottery. You just... you pick those, you take those options, and then you play those 2 games, and it was completely a lottery. Dyer went off this time, and Solano's obviously at 6 million now. He's come straight back. I think going to be eyed up by quite a lot of people, I would suggest now, because he's just like a nice price. I mean, before he got injured, he was still one of the better midfielders at 6 million, and he's come back and it's happened straight away again. So.
I mean, I'm surprised he's still there. I mean, normally he goes somewhere, but with the injuries, I guess that other clubs have gone away from him.
That's it. I think because he was injured during the most active period, he might have just got away with it. But obviously, we've still got until March in this game, so you never know, I suppose. But a good option going forward, I think. Let's move on from this game then. Let's go to Fulham and Man United. This
game really?
Yeah, it was really, really dull. I mean, you never really say that when Fulham are involved. Obviously, Man United, you expect them to have a hell of a lot of shots anyway. The game was fairly equal, and like I say, pretty dull overall. Dwight York again, so 2 in a row now. Absolute fire coming out from behind him.
Player of the month is probably due for Dwight York.
Yeah, he's got a brace coming next week. Noted down 100%. He's bang on form. I think Andy Cole was injured for this game in terms of, orange flagged, and they played him, and he got another injury.
He was orange flagged.
Right. I'm not sure if Giggs was or not. I can't remember. He may have been, but if he wasn't, then obviously he got injured again. We'll find out how bad that is. But Man United have been very, very unlucky with injuries for the part. They've sort of doing a Liverpool for the last 3 or 4 weeks. I think it's been pretty bad. But yeah, Silvestre came back in, and obviously he didn't get max bonus, but whenever he plays, he's a really, really solid option.
Yeah. Would you say that just the yellow card took away 9 for Silvestre?
Probably. I mean, when we look at the stats here, Neville did very, very well. He actually got 3 key tackles. They were largely the same on headers and everything else. So Neville probably would have just edged it even without the yellow, but it was very, very close. Scholes with the 2 assists. He turned out to be a really good signing if you stick with him. Obviously didn't play that first game that most people are eyeing him up, and then he scored, got an 8, and now he's got 2 assists in the next one. So he's doing very well. Obviously Veron is due back very shortly, so probably one to think about moving on, I would suggest now. Leeds and Middlesbrough, this game as well, it's kind of the thing that Middlesbrough do. I mean, I had seen in a lot of sims Leeds absolutely batter Middlesbrough on the stats, But in this sim, Middlesbrough seem to kill a lot of the games and make it very, very close, even though they've obviously been coming the wrong side of the results of late. The game wasn't actually that good in terms of stats for Leeds, but it doesn't matter to Viduka. He's 4 shots,
look at that.
4 on target, 3 of them went in. He actually didn't even do
clinical.
that much. Yeah, absolutely clinical. You're right. He did nothing. 19 passes, didn't win any tackles. Obviously, not his game. He got 2 key headers, but not crazy numbers of headers like you sometimes see with him and the likes of Van Nistelrooy. But he just got those shots. He scored 3 goals. So a sickener for the people who. I mean, most people had him, but I had him as captain. And I was loving it, and everyone else was just booing every goal. It's a strange thing to boo every goal when you own a player, isn't it? I saw a lot of people doing it.
It's crazy. Horrible to see. 4 shots on target?
Yeah.
At 4 shots, and 3 goes in. Yeah.
I think one of them was a lob as well, if I remember rightly, on the commentary. Yeah. Viduka tried to lob the ball. So, this guy's incredible.
Beast. And he's gone 6 goals clear, hasn't he, in the goal scoring charts?
Yeah, we'll look at that at the end to be sure, but I think you're right, he has. Yeah, I mean, who would have thought that after the first few weeks? I don't think Viduka did that well in the first 6 or 7. I mean, especially with the way Van Nistelrooy started the season.
Yeah, not at all.
You wouldn't have thought it.
No one had him until he got that hat-trick against Fulham, and that was game week 6, I think.
Yeah.
I think he was going really under the radar, but now he's just cruising along. And he's 85% of teams, I think, have got him now. So
wow. So he is basically the new Van Nistelrooy.
Yeah.
And even an improved model at the moment with the rate he's scoring goals. Middlesbrough were largely dreadful here. They didn't really do anything at all. I mean, Southgate won up a whole host of tackles here. A lot of the defence won quite a few tackles, to be fair. Probably a little bit unlucky not to get a higher rating. But apart from that, there wasn't too much to mention. Team's struggling now, I think, a little bit. It's been for a while now, hasn't it? And the postman, I think he got 1 assist maybe the other week, was it? But apart from that, I mean, when we all had that midweek stream that we had, mid-season stream, with everyone, and James had signed him and said he was happy about his new signing. I think he's got 1 assist since in 10 weeks or something. Incredible.
Yeah, but we knew he'd come back to where he should be, didn't we? He couldn't maintain that pace.
Well, there were stages where I was questioning it, but yeah.
Have you owned him?
I did get him in. I got him in. I owned him right at the beginning of the season, actually, where he was doing well, and then I decided to sell him to be clever. He went even more crazy, and then I finally caved and got him back in, and he did nothing, so I got rid of him. You know the way it works. It's fantasy football. This game, Leicester-Arsenal. Obviously, Arsenal had slightly more of the shots here. They had a little bit more of the play. Leicester have been playing pretty well of late, but not getting the results, and this was a similar pattern. Dean Sturridge getting subbed in the 32nd minute. I think it's just one of those where it's not going right. Arsenal are having most of the ball, so it takes off its star forward. I mean, you'd think it would take off Trevor Benjamin, as he's barely played any of the season, but it doesn't really work like that. It just seems to take off their best forward most of the time, as Henry's been victim of multiple times. And just tried to change it up, but obviously that didn't work either. And I think Van Bronckhorst now is on an incredible run at the moment. Every time he seems to take to the field, I seem to see his name lighted up in the man of the match.
We're bringing it up every week, aren't we? He's scoring, man of the match, high ratings. Is he a go-to Arsenal player for this double game week? That might happen. Although Dave has pretty much revealed it.
I mean, I also called the title of this YouTube video "Double Game Week Baby" or something like that, so we might have slipped on that one. He's definitely one to consider. I think you can't really argue how he's playing. The fact he can play here and he can play here is pretty good for him. However, that was obviously the case at the very start of the season, and we weren't seeing him. So there's always that sort of nagging doubt that he might not play one. But I don't think that's any different for virtually any of the Arsenal assets this week. So he's quite expensive is the problem, but I think he could do really well. Was there anything else to mention here? Henry didn't do particularly well for headers, didn't have a shot on target again. He still managed an 8, just from having sheer talent, I guess, more than anything else.
Yeah,
so making runs.
Henry headers, what is his jumping actually?
It's
heading?
Not too bad. It's 15. It's pretty good. He did
against
okay.
against the big old defenders.
Yeah,
that's when he's going to struggle, right?
Yeah, and normally his game is more about the pace and the off the ball, like Phillips, and running onto it more than the headers. And I just think it's not really happening too much for him, just simply because Vieira's gone more than anything else, and he's like their main midfield maestro who links all the passes. Also, to be fair, they haven't played Pires, Bronkhorst and Lundberg, their main midfield, most of the season, who obviously got really high passing stats.
Ones that can get it into him and do damage that way. Yeah. So was he up against Matt Heath this week?
Let's see, where is he? So he's on the right, so he would have played on the left. So he would have played Heath, Yeah, jumping 11, so he beat him for a few headers, but not too many. Right, Sunderland and Villa. Sunderland, compared to what we've seen so far, this was more of a battering, really, in terms of the stats. 8 on target. They managed to score 4 of them. I didn't really see this coming, to be honest. In my sims, I thought Sunderland sort of beat them 2-3 occasionally, sort of 2-1. But the thing is, it's Phillips, right? And he's just been bang on form. You just think that he's got the penalties.
Phillips is great. He's absolutely great, Phillips.
Yeah, and he started the season poorly, but he's been coming along really nicely. And a lot of people were weighing up taking Phillips out for one of the Derby forwards, and this was the punishing move that if you did it, really, really. I mean, to be honest, if I was on a free hit, for example, there's no way I'd have Phillips in my team. So you got to feel for the people who are on a free hit. I just don't think you would have kept him. There was too many other options.
And just looking at Sunderland fixtures as well. So I really, really like Phillips. I really, really like Arca for the next few. They've got Ipswich away, which can be quite tight. But then Newcastle at home. Newcastle will be just attacking, and Phillips will score there. Everton away, Middlesbrough at home. They're the next 4. Even after that, Chelsea away, then Leicester at home and West Ham away. So I really like Sunderland. I think Phillips is still a consideration. I know forwards, you've only got 3 spots, but I still think Phillips is up there as a second or third striker in the team, really.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I've still got him, so I'll be cheering him on next week. Anarka as well. Again, I know they don't really do clean sheets, Sunderland, but his average rating and his bonus is just really, really good for a defender. Obviously, getting those 6 points for a goal as well. He's been great ever since he's come back. We don't need to bang on about him. He's your favourite. No. He's your favourite player in the
game. Move on. Best player in this league. Yeah, that's fine.
This game, Spurs and Bolton. Spurs obviously a lot more shots than Bolton. However, they only got 3 on targets and some very wayward shooting. Only slightly more of the play. And obviously after the penalty in the 6th minute, pretty much nothing happened in terms of goals or anything like that. As we can see here, Everson was largely to blame. He had 7 shots, but only 2 of them were on target and got a 6. So on another day, perhaps Everson could have got a massive haul here. If he was shooting as accurately as Viduka, for example, we could be seeing 6 or 7 goals for him, but it wasn't to be, obviously. They went with the double AMC, and Sheringham, who we thought might drop off in the last few weeks, has been picking up points pretty much every time. I think Rebrov's return is imminent, so how much longer that will last, I'm not sure, but he's continued to offer value.
Yeah, will it just be Rebrov replacing Everson again, though?
It could be, couldn't it? There's also another player that has returned who we're going to speak about soon who could feature.
Oh, yeah, the legend, Ginger. The Ginger Pele, yeah?
Exactly. So it sort of muddies the water a little bit. I mean, that's the beauty of Selakovic, really. You just know he's going to play, don't you? And he's obviously got those penalties. So surprised he actually got man of the match here, because he doesn't usually do that well for average rating, as we've discussed a lot. But I think it's more as a result of most of his team didn't do well. Obviously, an 8 on other times wouldn't have got you man of the match in most games. West Ham, Southampton. West Ham had 6 on target, Southampton just 2, but Southampton had a little bit more shots and they actually had more of the play. So although I said West Ham might turn into Barcelona and dominate Southampton, they did win 3-0, but they didn't really turn into Barcelona, it appears. They got a little bit more lucky than it suggests. However, Canute put in an absolute beast of a performance here. He won 10 out of 15 headers, 2 assists and a goal, with a man of the match performance.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you can read too much into that. It's a 1 game against Southampton. I wouldn't be going Canute anytime soon.
Well, he's obviously got the double, though, so you wouldn't consider it at all for this game week?
If you've got a free hit, or you've got a route out of it, maybe it's Arsenal away, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Nothing from there, so treating it like 1 fixture. And that's Leicester at home.
Yeah.
Which is okay. So, yes, he may get 2 points against Arsenal, which I think will get probably that and then it's basically another single game against Leicester. Then you've got to think about transferring him out. So maybe on a free hit, yes, but I wouldn't bring him in because it's a transfer waiting to happen. It's West Ham.
I agree with that. The Leicester home game he could do well, but the away to Arsenal doesn't look good for him, does it? And it's Southampton are pretty much a gimme for every team, so you can't really read too much into any performance against Southampton.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Free hits, it's a gamble if you want to do that. But to bring him in, it's a transfer out after game week 28. So
yeah, that's the concern. And there's also the fact that he's not completely nailed. You'd kind of want that if you were taking that risk, right, with Defoe sitting on the bench. This is one of my favourite stats of the weekend. Actually, Jennings came on, but it was, although it was the 91st minute, 0-0-0-0-0-0-0-0. So he basically walked onto the pitch and then they just blew the full-time whistle. Sorry, Jennings.
He's come before, is he? That's not his first appearance.
No,
his debut.
no.
Okay.
That would have been incredibly harsh. James Beattie is another one I just wanted to quick. I know no one's going to go there, but I've been mentioning this new direct style and the fact that he's now playing up front. Not many strikers are capable of winning this amount of headers away from home, like rarely, and he's still doing it. So there is going to be a game where Beattie's going to hit a brace or a hat trick pretty soon as a result of it. Don't buy him, please don't buy him. But no. It's going to happen at some point.
Yeah. And do we target Southampton now? So
I've been doing it for a while.
Yeah, I mean next week they've got Bolton at home. Is it now, do you think, get a Bolton player in just for a week as a week punt?
I would certainly not argue against it. I mean, Pedersen away to Southampton. It doesn't really matter if it's home or away. Obviously, home's a little bit better, but away, at least Southampton tried to attack a little bit more. And if it depends a lot on some of the defenders they play, but if they're going to play the likes of Monk and Taha and Benali and they don't really have too many other options, then you've always going to have a chance, is the bottom line, I think. So
yeah, and it could be time for Ricardo Gardner because Bolton's fixtures are pretty good. So they've got Southampton away, Ipswich at home, Aston Villa away.
Yeah, I really like the Ipswich at home one, actually. I think that's going to be a really good one for him. At least on paper, it looks really good. Yeah, Bolton also don't really do clean sheets, do they? But they can get them occasionally, and it's just more for those attacking returns, similar to Arca, isn't he?
Yeah.
Charlton and Chelsea. Charlton didn't do much at all in this game. The score of 2-0 was probably a pretty accurate representation of what went on. Chelsea had more of the ball. I think Wilcox was low condition coming into this game, so that kind of explains his early sub here on 33. If I remember rightly, he was like 90. He would have been 90 something. I think he was 88, but then he had a day of recovery, so he would have been on 90 something. And then he came off. Carboni with a bit of a troll there for people who bought him in for the two before and then maybe free hitted. I think a lot of people have done that. So he gets the assist and the man of the match, which is quite annoying for those guys. But he's quietly been doing very, very well of late, Carboni. He didn't start that well, but all of this goal, these 3 assists and the man of the match have all come in the last few weeks, I think.
Yeah, they have. And he's a decent price as well, if you're looking for a Chelsea asset.
Indeed.
I think that's Chelsea. If there's a couple of Chelsea defenders I quite like still. I mean, Terry's decent enough. Melchior, if he can nail down that spot, he's a good player. But Carboni 6.5 is probably the best Chelsea pick, I'd say.
Yeah, I really like the defence, and obviously Terry and Melchior sticking in with the goals. I feel like their fullbacks really attack in this formation, which is strange because Gallas, I think, got an assist last week, if I remember rightly, as well. So I think a lot of their points seem to be coming from there. Obviously, when Babiaro will be coming back shortly, and then muddy the waters a little bit because Gallas can play right anywhere. But yeah, still got some nice games, and then they're home to Derby shortly as well, aren't they? Is it this week or is it next week? I think it's this week.
So Chelsea have got Derby at home this week, but then Liverpool away and Leeds at home. So maybe not clean sheets there.
No, but home to Derby looks pretty tasty for a clean sheet, you would suggest?
Yeah, I would.
Liverpool and Ipswich. This game was another where not too much happened. Liverpool seem to have this knack, kind of like Middlesbrough as well, of kind of killing the games a little bit, but obviously coming out on the right side for them. Owen with the brace. Again, another one that people would have bought in for the last 2 game weeks and then free hitted this week or wild carded this week, and as a result probably removed him for a double player. So there's another guy who could have trolled you. However, 6 in 6 since returning.
Very good.
Can't really argue about that, can you?
And we know he's clinical. He's a great finisher. Not going to win headers, but his pace, his finishing, lethal. Get in front of goal, he's puts it away.
Indeed, Risa had a bit of a blinder here. Won loads of headers somehow out of the left back. I mean, they can switch them round in the game, But if he did play left back most of the time, then obviously these guys out here, the forwards often drift out to the side, so he might have been challenging Pablo and Peralta on the side a little bit for headers. But with Reece, he's so versatile, they could have switched him round during the game, and we just wouldn't know about it. So it's too hard to read into it. But Liverpool's lineup's just been a little bit more settled of late, I think, in general. Obviously, Carragher came in for the injured Honcho. I was worried that it would be Stephen Wright, so I'm glad they actually did Carragher. If he can nail down his spot, he could be pretty good. He's 5.5, isn't he? So obviously he's a little bit cheaper than Honcho and Hippier, and then obviously can still get the bonus playing in that role.
I mean, that back four they've got there, I really like that. With Reece left, Biscan right, it's very solid. Yeah,
I mean Biscan is actually, because of his 20 jumping, he's really, really good as a defender. And yeah, Ipswich were large. Even Hariderson didn't do much in this game, which is a shock. He won 5 tackles. That's it. 13 passes, 2 headers. I think that's probably the worst stats he's had all season.
Yeah. Is it if people still got Ipswich defenders still carry holding one, perhaps?
I don't think so. And then he's banned this week, isn't he? He's banned home to Sunderland, so
yeah,
I don't think many people will have them. I think Titus Bramber's still a good pick, and Hariderson will be when he comes back, probably. But Tarico as well. I still got faith in Tarico. Probably stupidly, but I love him.
Maybe next season.
Yeah. Blackburn Everton. This, as you can see, was a pretty exciting game. Lots and lots of shots. Blackburn have gone from being one of the most boring sides to signing De Boer, and then I thought they might go to a flat 3-5-2, and then Souness decided to throw this one out there instead. So he's now, I mean, before at home they were playing the wing backs here, so now he's got rid of that and he's just put full on left midfielders here.
Souness is changing by the game. He's just loving it. I mean, he's looking at top 4 and thinking we can get there. Let's just go all attack. I'll get De Boer in.
Yeah.
Let's go for it. And what surprise, it's working better than the 2-7-1 you were playing.
Yeah, because they've got a lot better players than most of the league, to be honest. Some of the best of the rest. So they just needed to get that attacking formation down, and it seems to be working for them. I expect a lot more goals in Blackburn games if they play in that way. Obviously, the caveat to that is they could just switch back to their crazy away formation at any point. But when they let off the loose, then this is the kind of stuff that can happen, and it's good to see. I mean, Everton, having Stubbs in my team, I thought they might be able to get a clean sheet, but that was obviously naive. Ended up getting a 6 as well, so not the best sub ever. I think Rosiński, we pointed out last stream, was obviously a striker with a double that could do all right. I mean, he scored a goal, but I don't think anyone would have ever gone there.
So with they got Newcastle away this game week, would you expect them to go attacking against Newcastle away?
Who, Blackburn?
Blackburn, yeah.
I think they might go back to their 7-2-1. They might do, but last time when they played away, they played a slightly different formation. Let's go to them.
But the Newcastle rep isn't that high, though, is it?
It's not that high. So away here, they played 4-2-2-2 or whatever you call this, 4-2-4. I don't know. And Middlesbrough are usually about a 12, but probably risen up to about 13 or 14, which is what Newcastle are. Although they might have dropped a little bit themselves. So it could be the same formation we just saw there. I'd say 7-2-1 or that one, and it'll be interesting to see which one they go to.
Okay.
Right, what were we doing? Derby and Leeds.
Saturday night fixtures they were.
Yeah, Saturday night fixtures. So Burley was obviously that player who had a pretty high ceiling because of this. The penalties, he got 1 during 3, so I think owners were rewarded there. Obviously, we know CM, he could have ended up with 5 penalties across this. You just never know, really. It could have happened. So yeah, not a great haul from him, but at least they got some sort of returns. Valakari got his goal, but somehow managed a 6, so didn't particularly play well in this game. But however, no one really cares about that after what he got in the end. But it's just, he didn't really do that well. I think in the comms they were saying he played quite well, or it might have been the second game. But
I think it was this morning's game. I think had the performance. Yeah, this game, I think Leeds did pretty well.
Leeds did okay. I mean, in the Sims I saw occasionally Leeds would batter them here, and that's largely why I went for Viduka captain, is because they had the home Middlesbrough where they could batter them, and sometimes they would absolutely destroy Derby. They didn't destroy Derby in here, and obviously Viduka only got his 7. This whole strikers not winning headers away from home thing seemed to happen, but he still managed to find the net somehow. I think Oliver Decor as well was Didn't he get assist in the other game as well? Did he end up with
Yeah,
3 assists?
I saw like loads of Oliver Decor assists. I think it's 3 assists, probably. Yeah.
Yeah. So he came from nowhere. It's funny. I was bigging him up on my Discord like last week, not as a fantasy asset at all, just saying how he's one of the best DMs in the game, and usually he helps Leeds like quite a lot, and they haven't really played him. He's been, if you look through his injuries, he's had 4 week injuries 3 times. So that's a lot. What's that? 3 months out essentially of the season.
Well, he was in real life. I mean, I remember going on the bus to sixth form, about 2000, 2001, 2002. And just having endless debates as a Leeds fan saying Decor is as good as Vieira. Like,
well, clearly CM felt so because
he doesn't lose. Yeah, exactly. He doesn't lose the ball. He's consistent, but for that 1 or 2 seasons, Decor was brilliant. And this game, he's decent. He is.
Yeah,
he makes
really
them tick. Makes them tick.
And he's not had the rub of the green, but now he's there and he looks to be playing. He's obviously chipping in with fantasy. I mean, no one would have got him for this. I mean, if you did, then fair play, but certainly wasn't on my radar. And Ian Hart popped up with his goal. Was it a free kick? I didn't even see what it was actually. Was it a free kick? No, it was a penalty, of course.
Penalty,
it was. Yeah. Okay.
I think it was Valakari bundled someone over. I believe was that.
Yeah, I remember. You're right on the commentary. Let's just have a look. Oh, my mouse is doing this stupid thing again where it won't let me hold it.
And would that be another reason for him losing a rating point?
I suppose it could do, because sometimes when you make a blunder or a mistake, the rating goes down. You see it in keepers quite a lot. If they make a mistake, they suddenly go down to a 5 or a 4. So I don't think it's any different for midfielders either. So I think that's probably right.
So if you see that in commentaries where someone's given away a penalty, you'd expect like a point off their rating.
Yeah, if it makes a note of basically saying this guy did something stupid or had a blunder, then I would suggest that it drops them down at least a level.
Okay, that's good.
Where were we? Newcastle and Charlton then. So the other Saturday night game, Charlton did absolutely nothing in this game. Were not a threat at all. Just didn't turn up. And it's been Charlton away for most of the season, to be honest. They sort of Jekyll and Hyde. But obviously the main talking points were the fact that Solano and Dyer went off, as we already mentioned, for the first game, and Shearer somehow managed not to score in the game. He only actually had 1 shot.
Dear me. Yeah, I mean, it is surprising that Solano and Dyer hogged all the points and it wasn't shared around more equally.
No. Very, very strange, but they're obviously very, very good players. So are the others. Just wasn't the others' night. Yeah, there isn't. I mean, Rufus was a strange one, actually. I've got to mention he missed the first game and then came back in, despite them having both their centre-backs out on international duty.
Yeah, I don't understand that at all. Rufus, for me, out of any player in the game, is like the most nailed outfield player. He just, for me, he's just best 12 man to have, because you can rely on him to play, and then to not see him in the starting lineup. Yeah, it was a big shock.
It's one of those squad harmony moments. CM's decided it needs to give some squad harmony. It's just picked the worst ever time when it's got 2 other centre backs out. It's just like, yeah, you need to pick another day. It's not worked. Derby and Everton, a little bit more action than most of the other games actually, and I think the comms were actually quite busy on this game. They weren't to begin with, but then it started to happen for them. Everton obviously a little bit unlucky not to get a goal here, but I think Poom was in really good form. I saw loads of saves in the commentary.
Yeah, can we get the commentary up for his? I know as a highlight of the game was his treble save. So he saved and then went for a corner, and then I think it was early on, so maybe like 15, 20 minutes in.
Okay, my mouse is rubbish. Come on.
Poom was, the commentary was treble save from Dave, who was on the comms.
Might be this. Stubbs drove it a goal. Poom pushed it away. Poom saved well low down. Poom lifted the ball forward. No, that's 2.
I think it was before that then. So maybe was it from a? He saw it out for a corner. I think it was just 3 saves in a minute where he tipped it round for a corner. The corner came in and then it was a double save. So.
There's Poom turned the ball round for a corner here. Then Stubbs drove it a goal. Yeah, Poom pushed it away, and then Poom saved well down low. Yeah, so went little blinding 3 saves there in a row. That's really annoying, actually. I didn't realise that Stubbs was one of the ones who shot, because I could have got my points there. You bastard.
Would that have helped a lot if it worked out the Derby clean sheet for you?
To be honest, I had Poom anyway. It probably would, just because Poom's more well owned than Stubbs.
Yeah,
but,
fair enough.
Yeah, much of a muchness. And Valakari with the man of the match with just an 8. I mean, yeah, we see it a few times in CM, but again, probably a tiny bit lucky to get that. But obviously his goal over the 2 games, he didn't play overly well, but Came up with the goods.
Yeah, I was teasing a few this morning as well. I was saying, like, in some chats, I was saying, get ready for 5 minutes time, and then like another goal came in, or Ravanelli missed a big chance. It was funny this morning. Enjoyed it.
And I think those in the end who went Steve Elliott or Carbonari got pretty well rewarded with a clean sheet and an assist and a goal over the two. They didn't play all three, did they? So not bad in the end.
No, I mean, yeah, all the defenders to get one clean sheet. I think that's what you expected from those fixtures for Derby. But then the goals from Valakari and Boom getting 17 points, that's more than expected.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it. Just racking up those 3 games, or 2 for most of them, and they still managed to get it. Imagine if they'd have all played 3, we could have seen some crazy scores.
Oh, ridiculous.
Right, so that's all the teams done. There was also some results that we've had in other competitions, obviously leading up to this.
FA Cup. Do you want to go to the FA Cup first?
Let's do that. So here are the FA Cup results. I don't know if you want to talk through these quickly, Andy.
It's Arsenal, Chelsea, so that means that the double is on. You probably knew that already from Dave revealing it earlier on his Twitter. But yeah, good result for Arsenal. Probably favourites now to win the FA Cup. Van Bronckhorst getting a 10 out of 10. Solid.
So Arsenal were a little bit better, and yeah, the main talking point, I guess, is the fact that Van Bronckhorst again with the 10, playing in that centre midfield position.
Would you expect that to be the starting lineup? Is that the main starting lineup at the moment with the injuries?
It seems to be, doesn't it? They've played it 2 games in a row. I mean, the only one is Bergkamp could become Jeffers up front. I think Jeffers has been ahead of Bergkamp most of the season. So that would probably be my only shout for a swap.
Yeah, I think Henry will start both because they're still fighting for the title. It'd be silly to rest him.
You think CM thinks about that, do
you? I do. I genuinely think that. I genuinely think that Arsene Wenger's thinking in this computer game that, look, we're fighting for this title. We've got to go for it now.
Well, I hope you're right.
That's how I'm working on. When I'm playing the game, that's how I'm in my head. So
yeah, well, we'll see on that one, I guess. I really do hope you're right. The other thing that's quite of note, I suppose, is the fact that Forsell started up front again and scored, and he's been a pretty tidy option ever since he's come into the team. And I think he's 5.5 million. So now potentially you've got Jeffers 5.5, you've got Sturridge 5.5 under the new direct manager. They've got a really tidy run coming up at some point where they've got 3 home fixtures, I think it's in a row, some quite good games. And now you've got Forsell, so you've kind of got a price point now where you can maybe take a punt and then switch around, if you know what I mean, between the 3. I kind of like that.
I just think the forward slot is, there's so many good premiums you've got to load up in the forward slot. I wouldn't be going for a 5.5 forward.
Yeah, it's a valid point. Middlesbrough beat Sheffield United, routine 3-1 win here. This was Middlesbrough's team lineup. Looks pretty much their first team that they can put out. In fact, it looks completely their first team.
Yeah, it's first team.
And Newcastle were 4-2 versus Ipswich. This will annoy
Warren
people.
Barton, 10 out of 10.
Yeah. Barton got 2 assists and a 10 this time, so an even better return. He got a double. Dyer still got an assist, and Shearer got a brace.
Where was it? It was missing, wasn't it?
Yeah. Robert still did nothing, but Basidas got a goal as well, so if you went for him... Oh, there's people in the chat pretty annoyed about that. Probably. I can't see the chat.
Yeah, no, I'll see if it comes up, yeah.
Chettle came straight back in. Didn't get a penalty, but he's there.
I really want to see the next penalty that they get, if it is Chettle again. That would be so funny.
I think it will be, to be honest. You never know, though, do you? Hariderson with an 8 again here, I just noticed, away from home, even though they conceded 4 goals. So it looks like cheat mode is still fully in force. You've got 4 key headers. So it looks like he's not completely broken, despite missing out this week.
Mm-hmm.
Everton were 4-2 versus Rotherham. I think they drew. Did they originally 0-0 to Rotherham? Or have I got that wrong? Was this
no, this isn't replay. No.
No. Okay. Yeah. So comfortable dispatched of them. They even got a red card for Gravison. This was pretty much full strength.
Yeah, it was Rotherham knocked out Charlton in extra time.
Ah, that was it. Yeah.
Which caused the low fitness for Wilcox and McAllister.
I got them to thank for that then.
Yeah, so thanks Rotherham for that.
And there was one other game involving Premiership teams. Yes, so Sunderland and Hull. Hull were the team that knocked out Leeds, I think, weren't they?
Yeah, unbelievable. I think they had a good League Cup run as well. So.
Yeah, and I mean, look at this. They 50-50 away from home, and they actually have more shots as well.
They're a good team. Yeah, they are a good team in this.
So that's forced a replay, I assume. And Medina got sent off, though. That's probably partially to do with it. But Phillips got subbed early in a reshuffle. Yeah, it's a pretty good thing if you own him. And there's not really too much else to note. So these are the...
So, yeah, I was going to say the replay goes to the 27th of February.
So does that cause any blockages of fixtures, do we know? Or do we don't know that yet?
I haven't got that to hand. Maybe someone could put in the chat if they know about the fixtures, but
yeah,
I don't think it does. I mean, yeah, go to the Premier League fixtures. I don't think it's a midweek 27th of Feb, is it?
Oh, yeah, it's this...
It's the double, yeah. So
yeah,
it's
so
this week.
Hasn't affected that. Of course, it was going to be this week because obviously, if the FA Cup that Arsenal were involved in with Chelsea, it would have caused this to be cancelled, wouldn't it? So
yeah, of course, yeah.
Right. What else was there? There was Champions League, wasn't there?
So just go to the draw for the FA Cup. How did the draw pan out?
Let's do that then. So where do we go to here? This is the draw, isn't it?
Quarter-final draw. So Newcastle, Borough. Wolves against Arsenal, Norwich will play Sunderland or Hull, and Everton against Portsmouth or Watford. So it could be an all-Prem semi-final lineup.
Yeah, I mean, out of those, you'd think at the moment Arsenal and Newcastle are probably the two favourites.
Yeah, Newcastle tough against Middlesbrough, but they're fading away. So yeah, you'd expect Newcastle to get through, Arsenal to win. Sunderland got to go to Hull, so it could be Norwich v Hull, which would be interesting.
Yeah.
You still fancy Sunderland and Everton, yeah?
That's right.
Arsenal to win.
Let's go to Champions League. So we haven't got too many teams left in this. Obviously, Man United and Arsenal are the only ones. So, in fact, I'm just going to do it.
There are two fixtures, haven't they?
Yeah, I'm just going to do it by clicking on the teams. It's actually easier just to see that way. So if I just go to Arsenal and their fixtures. Arsenal, their first game versus Bayern, they lost 2-1 away from home. Obviously weren't expecting them to get a result here. They played this lineup again, very, very close to their full strength. I think Tikhonov hasn't played most of the time, so he came in. Von Kos still played in centre midfield. So it's Lundberg that dropped out, and Bergkamp played ahead of Jeffers again. Yeah.
Just going back to the FA Cup just quickly, because Taylor's put in the chat that semi-final causes blanks in game week 32, he thinks. Just for future reference.
Okay. 7th of April it's scheduled for.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think he's right.
And in their second game against Bayern, they lost at home. Keown decided to get sent off in the 49th minute, but Lizarazu got sent off in the 11th minute. They probably should have won the game, but they didn't. Again, they went with the same lineup they went in the first game. Keown played at right back, Tikhonov played at the left. They swapped. Actually, Lundberg dropped out for Pires as the change here between the two, and Bergkamp was again up front with Omri.
Bayern are good, but Arsenal got unlucky that game.
Yeah. And then
does that put Arsenal out then?
Let's look at this. Actually, we'll look at that just afterwards. I'll click the groups and we can have a look at the final standings. But I think Arsenal are rock bottom with 0 points, if I remember rightly. Fenerbahce and Man United. Man United managed to lose to Fenerbahce. Game was pretty bad, but their lineup here obviously struggling with injuries. Chadwick played right, Djokovic on the left. Or Djordjic. But York and Solskjaer played up front, obviously in the absence of Van Nistelrooy. The rest of the team was pretty much full strength and they didn't really do much. In the next game, they won 3-0 at home. And Mr. Van Nistelrooy started. Would have been orange for this game. But he actually got sent off, so it might have done him a favour in terms of not getting injured for the last 20 minutes or whatever. I'm not going to click him yet because we're going to go through the teams to see what his condition is. We're going to have to wait for that one. But he got sent off here. So if anything, that might be a good thing because he's suspended for the Champions League. So not that the game takes that into account and won't just bench him or rest him in a in a Premier League game, but more so that he's just got less games he can play now, so less chance of picking up an injury or whatnot. So I think that's probably a good thing for him. But the other thing is Mr. Dwight York.
He is on fire. Get him in, guys. 7 million. Absolute bargain.
He cannot be stopped. I was taking the mick when I said he's got a brace from here on in for the rest of the season, but he's on course.
Look at, yeah.
He's going to end up being top scorer.
He's found the net once and he can't stop scoring. I think, 7 million for Dwight York as a Man U forward now. Man on fire. Get him in.
He was in my team at the start. Loads of people at starts. Potentially very underpriced player. Didn't work out that way, but now he's killing it.
Pricing on point.
That's it. You got it bang on. The only interesting thing here is really that they played Sylvester in centre half and brought Owen in at left back. Phil Neville played right wing instead of Chadwick in this one. But yeah, Van Nistelrooy might have been saved from injury. We shall see. Mm-hmm. I think that's it. So, I just need to click on the actual group.
Yeah, just go through the 4 groups to see who's.
Let's just go to the groups this way. So, Man United are top. They've only got Rangers at home, and Rangers are rock bottom, although they are decent. And then Lazio away. So, there is a chance they miss out because they're close, but it's looking okay for them. You would have thought they'll get through.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they probably should beat Rangers. You'd expect Lazio to beat Fenerbahce, so that should put them through next game. But if Fenerbahce are still in it with the last game remaining,
yeah, it's a lot tighter than they would have expected. Put it that way. Yeah. And let's go. Which group are Arsenal in?
What's Group B? Rosenborg, decent in the Norwegians.
Juventus look like they're out. Barcelona have already qualified, so that's Barcelona and Celtic are through in that one. And then here we've got Arsenal rock bottom. They've got no chance, have they? Even if they get 6 points here, they're already out. Yeah, so they're gone. Good for the rotation of their players, though, potentially.
Yeah.
Right.
And just another question. Someone was asking earlier about the League Cup. That's coming up this week, isn't it?
Yeah, actually, there was a League Cup game, wasn't there? If I remember rightly. Actually, they might be right.
Or was it League Cup already been played? Because United had the second leg, so I doubt they would have. Oh, right, okay. So the second leg has been played between Leeds and Liverpool, but not the Man U because they had Champions League. Okay, so Liverpool in the final.
Yeah. So this game, Ian Hart came off in the 28th minute for Matteo. No idea why. Obviously wasn't working. Radaby then took a pen which he missed.
Oof.
And Dudek got sent off. That would have been a classic CM game. This. So Liverpool seemed to be through.
So that's interesting. So then Liverpool blank in game week 31.
Okay, so in game week 31, we know Liverpool have got a blank then. Does that cause a double after it in 30?
Yeah.
Okay.
It will be a double afterwards, but that depends again on United's progress in Champions League. So it could be, if United beat Preston. So it could be the fact that it goes right to the final week.
Okay.
I think it'd be treble game week 37. Oh no, double game week 37. So it usually plays if United progress in Champions League.
So is the treble still on if Man United can do bits in the Champions League, do we think, or not then?
Yeah, treble's still on. Well, the treble game week is not on because you need the quadruple for that.
Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah, that's what I meant. Okay, so a double for Man United is looking pretty likely then, if they're going to beat Preston at least.
Yeah, I think they're 3 or 4-1 up against Preston.
Yes, they are. They're like 4-1 up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Let's leave the fixture bods to sort that out. Let's go through the teams quickly. Okay, so actually, let me just remind everyone when the games are. I always forget to do this. So we've got these teams playing on the 23rd. So the majority, which is obviously today, that's about to happen imminently. On Sunday, so an extra day's recovery for Everton, Leeds, Newcastle and Blackburn. And then we've got 2 days for Ipswich and Sunderland. Obviously, it's the double, so we have Arsenal and West Ham on the Wednesday as well.
Nice. Just click through just a couple of weeks just to make sure everything's else is in order, and if people can see what's happening in the coming weeks.
Yeah. No probs.
29, and that's 30.
There's a big gap here as well, I noticed. So the 4th of March, and then it goes to the 16th. Is that because there's Champions League and Cups and stuff between here, or not? I don't know.
I think it's FA Cup, is it, maybe? Again?
Right.
I can't
bother to go back and look.
I know there's international break, so click through March. There's international break in March sometime, so I'm not sure if it's then or not.
Okay.
Go through March. One of them's FA Cup, one of them's international.
There's another big break here, yeah.
Yeah, I think the international's before, at like the end of March time, so before that week.
But that's a lot of gashed legs and stubbed toes to pick up in training, guys.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's do this. So, Arsenal. Luzhny, which I think was already an injury. As a result, Keown was playing right back, which we touched on last stream, but because he was banned, it was kind of a little bit confusing. But he's still out for another 2 weeks, which I find really, really interesting because Lauren is still away on international duty. Now, I know they have played Keown at right back, somewhat surprisingly, so it's not completely nailed, but it does make Dixon a little bit more appealing for the double, I think, just because he's 5 million. And as a result, you'd expect him to get one. And if they do any sort of rotation, he's the kind of name they might throw in as well, because they could put Keown centre back. So I think he suddenly might be an option. The problem we've already discussed is like they've got a bad game straight after that, and then it's a transfer waiting to happen down the line. So it's a debate as to whether you actually go there. But he looks likely to at least play one, I would have thought. Upson's out for a month, who they hadn't been playing at centre back.
So it's got to be Campbell.
Yeah, you'd say Campbell and Keown, but there's also Adams. Adams might actually be back? Thinking about it, I think he was.
Just had a look at that as well. Adams is back, I think.
Yes, he is back. He's 100%. So normally he is ahead of Keown.
Why isn't happy?
Thinks Wiltord is a disruptive influence. Oh, we're gonna start seeing a lot of unhappies around then. Yeah, dislikes Wiltord. I don't even remember this. He came on for a sub, did he? Okay.
Hasn't played at all. Normally he plays a bit more, doesn't he?
He's in superb morale, so he's really happy that he's pissing people off.
He's striding around the training pitch, chest out, just pissing everyone off.
Yeah, big strides, cowboy walk. You what?
That's right. I'm on 40 grand a week. And what?
Despite being 4 foot tall, he's pissing off Tony Adams. I wouldn't really want to do that, to be honest.
He's not part of the Tuesday club, whatever they had. Yeah,
indeed. Itonga, there's no point in clicking is there. So everyone else, as you can see, Henri's on 94%, and it's only the boys Kanu and Lauren who are away on international duty. Now, they've finished their groups, so they are at the quarter-final stage now. So I think, if we look at the date here, which is the 23rd, if they lose this game, there is a chance they could be back for the 25th. I don't know if they come back that quick, but I think they do. I'm pretty sure that the moment they lose, the squads just come straight back.
They do, yeah. As soon as they're out, they're back on the flight home.
Right. So Nigeria have got Ghana as well. So there is, and they're on the 24th. So potentially, Kanu could play in this game, lose it, and then be available for the double. However, it would be a day after the game, so you would have thought his condition wouldn't be high enough for him to actually play it. But it's CM, so you have to bear it in mind, I guess. Let's move on.
And you said, you mentioned before the stream as well that you've got just the double Arsenal for the double game.
Yeah, so I've locked my team in beforehand. So I've got Seaman in goal. I had Poom, so it was just an easy swap to Seaman. As we saw with Poom, the one who played all 3 of the games, you'd think if there is any rotation, then Seaman's likely to be immune to it. I really hope so.
Come on, Richard Wright. I'd love Richard Wright to come in. This is the week for Richard Wright.
So that was a no-brainer for me. I think they've got a very good chance of clean sheets in both. And then I've gone for Henri. My feeling here is I just feel like they're both rep 12 games potentially. So there's nothing to say that he won't play in both of them. They could just do it. They did it with Hippier, if you remember earlier in the season, where they had Derby at home and someone else, where they just left him out despite not having any other centre backs.
Yeah,
I'd be surprised, but my thing is they're both such good games in their individual right that even if he misses one, I still think he's a really good captain. So as a result of that, I feel like you just take the chance. That's my current feeling. I've been all around the houses on this. The other side of that is if it's going to take you a whole host of hits to get there, and you're taking out the likes of Shearer, Viduka, Phillips, or whoever else to do it, it is a gamble. At the end of the day, as we've seen, these single game week players can fire, and then if he ends up playing one, suddenly it was a poor move. So I don't know, that's the route I'm going. I'm covering Omri because I think you have to be in it to win it, and I think Seaman's the safest choice. I would potentially like to have another defender as well, rather than a midfielder, but I think the only other options I consider would be Van Bronckhorst and either Ashley Cole or Sol Campbell. I don't really think there's anyone else. I mentioned Dixon and the other people, but it's just transfers waiting to happen later on, I think.
Yeah, I mean, Pep Talk just mentioned about Seaman captain for this double game week, and I quite like that as a conservative pick, because 2 clean sheets is very, very likely, I think. So you're kind of looking at 12 points.
Yeah.
I would say it's going to be 12 or 8 points for Seaman this game week. So if you're looking for conservative captains,
I think that's a good shout, because the other factor is that there's not many other the big hitters who have got a nailed-on really good game. You'd say Shearer at home to Blackburn's a pretty good game, but if Blackburn set up 7-2-1, it's suddenly not as good as you thought maybe. And then I think Viduka's away, if I remember rightly. Phillips is away. Some of the other big names. The other one is obviously Van Nistelrooy at home to Spurs. So if you're not confident in Henri, Seaman suddenly becomes a good shout, I think.
Yeah, Leeds at Everton.
Leeds at Everton, that's it, yeah.
Sunderland at Ipswich, if you want to go Phillips. But, I mean, Chelsea at Derby is another one you could try and hit. But again, which one do you go for?
Yeah, that's it. You don't know who to pick. And obviously Van Nistelrooy at home to Spurs is the person we'll get to, but he's potentially another option. Aston Villa, not many people have got any of these guys, so I'm not going to touch too long on it. Nearly everyone is ready to go. Barry's still 1 game away, but Dion Dublin picked up another injury, so he's out for 10 days.
Yeah, Dave Perrin's in the chat. Evening, Dave. Good to see you, mate.
He's saying captain him, yeah, I can see.
Yeah, he's saying Seaman captain.
Yeah, I saw him tweet that. It's a very, very safe pick. I do really like safe. It though.
8 or 12 points, I think, is pretty much nailed on.
The problem is he probably ain't going to get any save points because of the way the team's set up when they play away to Arsenal. I wouldn't imagine they'll have very many shots. That's my only thing. But if he's going to get 2 clean sheets, then it doesn't really matter. But whether he'll get the bonus or any save points, I'd be doubtful. That would be the only thing. Blackburn, Lasso is orange, a few days away. He's on 90%, so could feature. All of these guys, as you can see, just a little bit below 90, but not most of their main team. And Curtis is 1 yellow away from being suspended. I think that's it. Yeah,
when is that cut off? I think it's coming up soon. I don't know if anyone can put it in the chat.
I can't remember when it is. It's in your pinned tweet, if I remember rightly, on your Twitter
I think it
account.
is. I think it's coming up. I think it might be end of Feb, but I could be wrong on that.
It doesn't tell you here, does it, unfortunately?
Before it goes to 10.
Right. Okay. Moving on to Bolton. Nearly everyone's okay. Nolan's on 92, as you can see. Norris, who doesn't play, is out for 10 days. And Wheatcroft is a few days. Neither of those feature very often. Pedersen's 100%. Cooper's 1 yellow away from a ban, but he's also 100%. I think that's their main man. Where's Gardner? He's obviously at 100%. And yeah.
And we mentioned it earlier, they do play Southampton, so a Bolton punt could be an option.
Charlton, and annoying news for owners, including me. Wilcox obviously went off during the double, didn't play in the second game, where I think they brought in Andy Reid, if I remember rightly, and he's only out for 1 day with a sub toe, 90%. As a result, he's probably going to play. He might play. Because he's pretty much nailed for him. The thing is, he didn't play in the second and he's had a stub toe then, so you just don't know, unfortunately. They could bring in Reed or they could bring in Robinson, who can play on the left as well. Not a great game. They're away to Arsenal anyway, so I would suggest most people would have been trying to bench him regardless, but annoyingly he's out. Parker's out for 10 days. Luke Young is banned for 1 game, and Shitu is still out, but we've already mentioned with Nigeria, so he could be back after this week. Same for Fish. Yeah, they're in the quarterfinals. And Bartlett.
pep talk saying Wilcox needed a stretcher for that.
Yeah. His toes swelled to the size of his head. Physically could not walk off the pitch. Chelsea, Good Johnson, the troll, 72% orange, 10 days with a calf strain. Everyone else is very, very good.
Nearly a full team.
Yeah, Desai's 1 yellow away from a ban. Hasselbank's still annoyed, but it didn't stop him coming in and doing well for that one game. And Babiara's still away with Nigeria.
So you just can't touch Chelsea because of the rotation. It's awkward.
Yeah,
so
just
awkward.
go to defence or Carboni, don't you? I still like Forsell as a bit of a punt, but whether he'll play or not is it's a gamble. I mean, as soon as Good Johnson's back as well, then suddenly he's out of the picture probably.
Yeah. Is it worth Cudicini? Would you pay $6 million for Cudicini?
I mean, I think you're probably going to get a clean sheet this week, but
like if you're starting off on a wild card long term, Cudicini.
Nah, I mean you're going to go Seaman on a wild card anyway for the double clean sheet, aren't you? So it's just
fair enough.
Yeah, I don't think many will be going that. Let's go Derby, the heroes. Iranio is just a few days away. Dino's 1 day away. And Elliott is on 88%. Christie and Ravanelli are 93 and 94. Mokoku is back. He missed his opportunity though to probably get a game. In fact, because it was a Rep 12 game, that first one, Mokoku would have probably played in the first one.
Oh, what a shame as well. Yeah. He's in my zombies. That would have changed the outcome as well.
Yeah, quite comfortably could have, going by his performances so far.
Are they playing on the Sunday, Derby? Did I remember that?
They're today.
Today is today.
Yeah.
So if you're unfit, so if you haven't got a wild card, if you're not on a free hit and you carry the Derby players over, so you've got 3 Derby, which one would you play for Chelsea away?
I don't think they're going to get anything for Chelsea away. I mean, I'd just be inclined to, Valakari's fairly solid. You could still consider starting him, but defence is still an option just for maybe getting some bonus. But not many defenders are that good at it away from home, unfortunately. The only one I'd really be comfortable starting would probably be Valakari.
Yeah, but it's probably the case where they transfer one out and then bench the other 2, right?
Something
slowly,
like that. Yeah.
Slowly get rid of them.
So James Dwellis, I'm seeing in the chat, odds on York to win players player. It's got my vote. Everton. Gerrard doesn't play. I don't know why I'm clicking him. Joe Max Moore is out for a month. Ferguson is still a month away. Seems like he's been injured forever. And Gaza is absolutely knackered.
Again.
He's got 9 for stamina. He's trying his best. 34. They flogged him in the cup, was it? Oh no, is it?
No, it's the treble game week.
Yeah. So he's under that threshold of 70, so I don't think he'll play.
Has Rooney played any reserve games at all? Any non-competitive games?
5 non-competitive games and done nothing.
Won't see him anytime.
Wasn't he 16 when he scored against Arsenal?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Looks a long way short of that on this game. Gravison is 3-match English ban starting on the 2nd of March. Don't think many people have got him though. I think that's it. Naismith,
that's it.
1 away.
Fulham, new signing.
Oh, yes. No, hasn't they got 2 new signings? In fact, I think they have.
Is it 2?
I think they've got 2. Let's have a look in a second.
Yeah.
Hales is out for 2 weeks. Doesn't really play though, obviously. Wadadu's out still for 10 days. Stolzers, the main man, is back 96%. So you would expect he comes straight back in. And let's see who else I've got. Corrigan is suspended for 1 match, having hit 5 yellows. So he'll be sat home with Jeremy. Yeah,
I think it's a good time to bring in Fulham midfielders again. Good price. Start playing them. Stolzers, Collins, Beaumorte.
They're just really fun players to own, aren't they? They can just go off at any point.
Decent fixtures, and they need to stay up. So
right, let me find these new players. Right, here he is. Here's one.
Mm.
So Andy Morrison, I think he's 4.5 is what you said, 4.5 defender.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Yeah, superb morale, good form, but as you can see, he's not too bad of a defender at all. He's got 20 for bravery, 16 for aggression. That's usually very good for tackles, in terms of trying to attempt to make them. Determination's 20, that's obviously handy, and he's got jumping of 16, which is good. His positioning 13's not the highest, but we are expecting Fulham to stop conceding goals, particularly because just the style they play more than anything. And he's got high strength, so he's not a bad defender in stats. So you would have thought that he would come in for Wadadu, at least for now. Obviously, when Wadadu's back, it'd be interesting to see what they do. He could obviously play right back as well, though.
You'd be hoping it's Gomer and Morrison. Morrison's more of a centre back with those stats. Good strength as well.
Yeah.
How much did Fulham buy him for?
Let's go back to it. 1.7 million
from Man City. It's a good signing. They needed some defenders.
He got 2 assists here, so perhaps they were playing him at right back. Perhaps. They did sign another defender. I'm pretty sure they did, unless I'm going crazy.
I don't remember. I think.
Yeah, Stephen Foster. They've signed him for 275k.
Okay.
I don't think I think they've said they're not pricing him until he starts, because as you can see, they don't really expect him to play. Although he has got some key stats that are pretty good. I know that overall he doesn't obviously look anywhere near as good, but he's got this 19 for positioning, which makes him a pretty solid defender. So that's the most important one. And then he's got 17 for jumping, and he's got 20 for bravery. So stamina and strength are okay as well. He could play, but obviously they've only got so many centre-back roles in their team. So I think they're just going to price him if he does, which is fair. Yeah. I think it's 4 million they were looking at for him if he does, but don't quote me on that.
Dave's saying we can add him if they want. And I would say that I'd like to add him at 4 million.
Yeah, all right. Well, you're the main man. Locked in.
Dave, you happy? We'll wait 30 seconds. But 4 million defender at Fulham, yeah. Dave's saying price him at 4 ? He's catching up, yeah. 4 million, Dave.
I think, yeah. I mean, you could just look at 4.5 to be sure, but maybe that's harsh.
No, Stephen Foster, 4 million. Done. It's done. Dave's saying done. Let's get it done.
Done, okay. Nice work.
Also, someone saying Wilcox was 1 day away. So, yeah, just to clarify that on the chat.
Yeah, 1 day away.
Ipswich new signing as well.
Ooh, exciting times. Armstrong is a few days, 90%. Kumas is about a week, 94%. And everyone else looks very, very good. Obviously, Ryderson serves his ban for this game home to Sunderland, and Finidi is still away with Nigeria. Who is their new signing then? I don't know who that even is. Who is it?
Go transfers. Was it Ipswich?
Oh yes, Gunnarsson.
Yeah, that's it.
So again, he's not too bad. He's got one of those players who looks really good because he's got, reasonable attributes in most areas, but that's not particularly useful.
Has he been injured the whole season? Where is he?
He's been playing for Stoke.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's fine.
2 goals, 2 assists. Not been doing too bad. So, question marks as to whether he comes in. Obviously, when they play the 3 at the back, Hariderson and Bramble are fairly nailed, and then that third centre back seems to change around a bit. McGreal has played quite a bit and been doing okay. But yeah, anything could happen now. I suppose Gardso as well is also pretty tasty and has been played there as well. So
yeah, David Strom saying it's the most Icelandic name he's ever seen. Bjorn Gunnarsson. Yeah, that's it.
What an effort that is. Yeah.
Got the double S, got the BJ, and
brilliant.
Brinjo, yeah.
And as we've seen a lot throughout this season, as he's a new signing, you'd expect that they might just throw him in, especially with Hariderson being suspended, so he might play this week. Whether he stays there afterwards is another thing. Let's go to Leeds.
This is the big signing.
Yes, and everyone take a deep breath, because a mainstay of nearly everyone's team has managed to get himself injured during the 0-0 draw. I think that was the cup game, wasn't it? So he's out for 2 weeks with strained knee ligaments, which is a massive blow. Because when I was looking at this earlier, 2 weeks, he's obviously going to miss this game. He's likely to miss Arsenal, but in any case, that's a pretty tough game. And then he potentially comes back here. Well, he will come back. So there's a massive gap for Chelsea away, which also isn't a good game. So I think that's a 3-week window there where you can get away with not having him. And booking in transfers in this game's pretty bad. I mean, assuming you want him back. I assume most people do, because he's got Newcastle, West Ham, Derby, Charlton, Leicester, Blackburn after that. At Southampton, it goes on.
But it's worth the 4-point hit now and then bring him back in.
Yeah. I was looking at that heavily today as to what I was going to do. So, yeah, I think as he's that price as well, this will now tempt a lot of people just to move to Arsenal assets because they've got the double. That probably weren't going to do it otherwise or something.
Yeah, but would you go to Arsenal if you've got the double defence already? That's a risk, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like I know it's a double this week, but then you've got to come off one again, probably.
Yeah, exactly. There's part of me that thinks you just keep him for the 3 weeks because it saves a transfer down the line, but it's whether your team can cope with it. I've got Wilcox and Hart potentially now out, along with a load of double game week assets I didn't particularly want, who just had them for the double and the triple. So it's it's standard CM really. I'm just going to end up playing players I don't want to play or take hits to field 11. The fact that Charlton are playing away to Arsenal is the major issue, I suppose, because a lot of people have got them as their bench assets. So it's kind of annoying. But Chelsea, we already talked about, are another option, I think, home to Derby. If you want to move on to one of them, I think that's a pretty good shout. But then their fixtures afterwards are also bad, as we've also mentioned.
Yeah.
So it's a mind bender. Man United is another one that stands out, actually. Home to Spurs and then home to Villa, I think. So Silvestre obviously is the standout there.
Two home games coming up, yeah.
Yeah, so if you're thinking over that 3 period, you could easily just move. And what was their away game? I think their away game wasn't bad as well, was it?
Southampton, yeah. I mean, the next lot of games, you've got Tottenham at home, Aston Villa at home.
Yeah.
Then you've got Southampton away, Bolton away, Ipswich away.
Yeah, so I think, at least for now, you could move to Silvestre or even Neville, who's been doing well and playing more than I thought. Gary Neville, that is. You could do that, or even Blanc, obviously, if you want to save some cash. It could also just be a cash cow. I mean, I've used him as a cash cow as I've had to lock in my team to get Henry, or have I? I can't remember what option I picked in the end, but it was something I looked at. So an interesting one.
Scala saying Bowyer's back as well.
Yes, well noticed. So Bowyer, where is he? Let's look at his percentage. Oh, he's probably already had it. Where's he gone?
Oh, clicking near the transfer there.
Oh, move away quickly. He's 98%, and his attributes haven't dropped much at all. So yeah, we've suddenly got back an option that was certainly pre-season hyped up to be a very, very good pick at 7 million. So some more midfield rotation for Leeds, but they have obviously got quite a number of injuries. I would expect him to come straight back in, though, to be honest.
I would, yeah. I mean, he's already played is that a cup game he's played? He played in the League Cup, so he's already come in, played one game.
Yeah, so they played Bowyer here, and maybe still held on to the right wing. Obviously, you've got Bakker as well, so Bakker could come in for any of these spots. You'd have thought maybe, but...
And then you've got the transfer as well, which Brian Newell has just mentioned in the chat. He was first to say Berkovic.
Yes.
Has joined from Man City.
Here he is. So... playing for Man City, was doing okay. He's come for 7.75 million. He's AMC forward centre. His attributes don't look particularly good, but I'd suggest if he was going to play, it might be in that AMC that they put. You know, when they put Robbie Keane here and they put an AMC. I think that's probably where he's going to play. I can't see him replacing Keane or Waduka, but I said he's a new signing, so there is always that worry they just throw him in. But I would have thought he goes into the centre with Decor, and then Bowyer ends up on the right. That would be what I would think, but he might just be a rotation option after that. I don't know. We're just going to have to see. His reputation could be high enough where he starts playing games. Yeah,
it's going to be 6.5 million, I think we said as well, didn't we?
Yes, 6.5 million. You see his creativity is 18, his passing 17, so he's more of the playmaker in centre midfield, teamwork and technique. usually having off the ball a little bit higher is better for that position as well. But he's probably going to be the playmaker more than anything else, which I think he pretty much was in real life as well, right? If I remember rightly.
Yeah, he's a good player, decent player.
Let's look at the rest of the injuries. McPhail's still 3 weeks away. Ferdinand is 2 weeks away. And Bridges is a few days.
Dave with an awful pun saying, "I'm not convinced about him." That's terrible, Dave. Really bad.
You shouldn't have even done him the service of reading that out, Andy. Come on, man. We're trying to create quality content there, and here's Dave.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, last time, Dave. That is.
Radaby's 1 yellow away from a ban, and so is Batty in Europe as well. Smashing into tackles.
Interesting time for Leeds. I wonder who they go with next game.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Who are they playing again? They're away to Everton, aren't they? Is that right?
Just check again. It is Everton away, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Leicester have got Savage out for a few days, 90%. Akinbaye is still away with Nigeria, but everyone else is looking very, very good. Yeah, all very close to 100. Sturridge, I think are they playing West Ham? I'm pretty sure they are, yeah. So I think Sturridge and Scowcroft, they've been playing well, Leicester, they've just not been getting the performances. I think there's a chance they could score against West Ham, either one of those or both of them. I mean, it's West Ham, right? So you would have thought they might get something. Liverpool, Fowler, after deciding he was on 70% for 4 weeks for no apparent reason, has decided to be injured for a month. He injured himself during a reserve game with Middlesbrough. So he's been thoroughly bombed off.
He is leaving, isn't he? Yeah.
He's not happy with the squad rotation system, but he's proud to be at Liverpool. So in other words, he's collecting his wage and sitting on the bench for the rest of the season. So yeah, take that as some sort of comeuppance for how he treated people earlier in the season. He's now got his punishment. He's just going to play in reserve games and get injured and maybe sold eventually.
In real life, he went to Leeds around this time, didn't he?
Oh yeah. It didn't do very much for you guys though, did he? If I remember rightly.
No, he was on 85 grand for about 10 years, I think.
Right. Brilliant.
Which is just the demise of our club. So yeah, anyway.
That's probably why they put his... Yeah, he's got some bad mental stats in the background. That's probably contributed towards it.
Yeah.
Navarro's out. Not that is a thing particularly, but that gash leg is back. Smeets is out for a few days with a gash leg. And Honcho's out for 2 weeks with a twisted ankle. Berger's on 93% and Murphy is on 89%.
89, that's low. Yeah.
They play today as well, yeah. So Murphy may not play, I guess. Could be good for Bishkan. He could end up right wing.
I was going to say, could see Bishkan right wing. Partridge could come in.
Yeah, Richie. You never know. They've got options all over the place, Liverpool. That's the thing. You just never know who they're going to play. That's half their problem, apart from Owen, who's 100%.
Yeah, Brian, you were saying all remember about Berkovic is getting kicked in the head, and that was Hartson. Do you remember that? Training ground incident.
Yeah.
Like Berkovic was like knelt down or something, and Hartson just booted him in the face.
Yeah, I didn't realise that was Berkovic. Yeah, I do remember the incident. Now you say.
Yeah.
On to Man United, and the curse continues with them at the moment. So Veron, we already knew, is 2-match ban. I think just one of them will be the league, and the one is the League Cup, or has he already served one? I can't remember now. Yeah, so he's just going to miss Tottenham, and then he's going to be banned for the Preston game. We probably wouldn't have played anyway. So he's one more game out technically. Cole is a few days with a groin strain, but he's 63%. So as a result, very unlikely to play. They are playing today.
They'll leave him out then.
Yeah, so that means York nailed on. Can't drop him in this form anyway. Ryan Giggs is out for 2 weeks as a result of his injury in the Champions League game. So just as people were turning their head towards Giggs, I think he picks up that injury. David May is out for a week, doesn't really feature though, and Beckham is a 1-match ban. He's also on 90%, but with a few days with the knee ligament, so that'll all coincide. He'll miss this one game and then he'll be back, won't he? You would have thought.
Yeah, so Beckham will be fit. I think everyone will be back on 3 United for this run. Just depends where you go. So do you hold out for Beckham with Giggs being injured? And
I just think everyone's turned away from spending so much money in midfield now, haven't they? I think Giggs is probably the only premium worth considering in midfield. Everyone else, you sort of drop down to that 8 million mark, maybe 8.5 for Kuehl, but the rest of them, it's these Dyers and Solanos now just look like they're going to be too good value. I guess.
Newcastle mids is the way to go.
And here's some big news then. So Van Nistelrooy is out for a few days still. He's on 90% and orange. So he could obviously feature, and as we saw here, he actually did already play for Man United and start at home to Fenerbahce and got sent off. So with that little bit of information as well, it probably makes him even more likely to start this one, you'd say, because they're happy to do it clearly. So I think he probably will start. Obviously, the fact that he's orange means that there's a chance of re-injury. That's the only thing.
Yeah, that's risky to now go Van Nistelrooy, isn't it?
Definitely risky, but it could be really good because it's Van Nistelrooy.
It's a tough one. I think there's other good forwards that you can probably just go to York at this time and know that York's nailed 7 million, and then look at other 2 forward premiums.
Yeah. I mean, you can almost play the worst case scenario in your head. A lot of people would have been thinking they're not going to go on Reed because they think he'll miss one, or he's obviously just not been good anyway, and they'll just go for Van Nistelrooy for home against Spurs, which is a great game on paper. Was obviously a great game afterwards. And now you think worst case scenario, if you still do that, he gets injured and Henry goes crazy or something, you've suddenly then got a transfer down the line to sort out as well. It's just a nightmare. But it could go the other way. He could play and do really, really well still.
I would risk it the other way. I would say to go on Henry with it in mind that you can go to Van Nistelrooy if he's fit again for the next game. So you've got Henry for the double.
That's the smart play. And obviously if he does come off injured, then suddenly you can't bring him in for the Aston Villa game.
Then you've still got Henry, yeah.
Although I think, is it away to Leeds? Yeah, I think it's away to Leeds. But obviously then you can still move to someone else if you need to. Fortune is still away with South Africa, and Blanc is 1 yellow away from being banned still. I think everyone else is okay. We've clicked all these guys now, I'm pretty sure. So
yeah, I mean so they got Van Nistelrooy and Cole unlikely to play. Their main midfield of Giggs were on Beckham. Only Roy Keane available for their main midfield.
Yeah, I think Chadwick will play this one of these. We've been here before with Chadwick, and then Phil Neville played right wing, if you remember. But he did play one of them, I think Chadwick did, and he also played. If you look in their Champions League games, Chadwick played, I think, one of them. So in this one we had Phil Neville one wing and we had Giggs on the other, but obviously Giggs is now injured. And then the other one we had Djorkovic and Chadwick. So you'd think it's either going to be this or Phil Neville comes in for one of them.
Yeah, but Chadwick's a great pick because he can play on the left as well. I mean, if Fortune's out, that narrows it down as well. So
exactly, and Fortune's away on international duty. So basically the only way he doesn't feature, as far as we can tell, is Solskjaer can also play on the wing, so it would be Solskjaer left, Phil Neville right, or something like that. That's the only way I could see it not happening. But
no, I think Chadwick's a good shout. 4.5 million for this week. I think Chadwick's a good, and even if Chadwick is on the bench and comes on, he could easily get a return anyway. It's Chadwick for Man U, isn't it? So.
Yeah, exactly. And then you've got Villa afterwards, and obviously Giggs is still out for 2 weeks, especially if Fortune continues to carry. If Nigeria win their game, is he not? Oh, South African. Sorry, South African. So they're playing Egypt away. Anyway, let's not get on to the intricacies of Luke Chadwick, eh?
Yeah, I like him. I think if you're looking to transfer like a dive midfielder out,
it's one of those
if you've got like Darryl Powell in your team and you're thinking I need to get Darryl Powell out because he's shit, then why not Chadwick?
Yeah, if you need the money for Henry or something as well. Middlesbrough, as we can see here, Southgate has picked up an injury in the game against Sheffield United. He's out for 2 weeks, so that's Ekiog and Southgate gone for Middlesbrough at centre half now. Boxic is 61%, so he's under that 70% threshold. As you can see here, he actually got injured against Sheffield United, but has obviously recovered since, but just not fully. So he probably won't play either. And Rickard is 1 yellow away from a ban. Ziri Job's still away. So you would have thought that makes Pearson probably Fester at centre back. And the other thing is Gordon, who was out for 2 weeks, is now back. So you'd expect he's going to come in at left back again.
Yeah, Gordon's finished as an asset now. You've had his time at left wing. There's better assets than Gordon now.
Yeah, I agree with that. But they're playing Liverpool at home, so Liverpool, although on paper it doesn't look a great game, you suddenly think the likes of Owen might not struggle as much to score goals in that one. Let's go to Newcastle. So the biggest talking point here by absolute far is the fact that Steve Chettle, he's 100%. He
is back. Chettle is back.
He's not
ready to go.
He's ready to take Shearer's penalties for him. He's there.
I just imagine Chettle was another one just striding back from defence, nicking the ball off Shearer, hammering it in, and then just walking back.
Shearer placing the ball down like he did. He does that wipe where he just steps up and Chettle just shoves him to the side. Come on, son.
Know his boss.
Yeah, indeed. Oliver is a week away. Didn't even attempt to say that properly, did I? Loire 3 weeks. Dimas is 2 weeks, and Coldwell is 2 months. Not many of those guys really feature in terms of percentage. So Gallivant's 87, he can do. Bernard is 89, so a little bit low. But Solano, Robert, Basidas, Dyer, all your main guys are all good.
Yeah, keep the Newcastle guys. Whoever you've got, if you've got Basidas, keep him. It's great assets to have. Home to Blackburn. I'm looking forward to this game. I think if Blackburn go for it, this could be like another 3-3 if they go for it.
Yeah. Dyer's just been incredible.
Player of the month, Dyer, really.
Yeah. It's 20s all over the place. So good. Southampton. No one cares, but Parhas is out for a few days.
Just going back to just going on the league on the awards. Who's got player of the month? Actually, we haven't actually looked at that, have we? Ever?
That was team of the week. Players of the month. Colin Cooper. Yeah, he did have a good January actually. So February, yeah, Dyer. I mean, it's not over yet, is it? Dyer's a strong shout there, isn't he?
Just out of
Viduka
interest
as well, actually.
Yeah, Viduka. Yeah. That sounds about right, though, from those players.
Titus Bramble's cleaning up.
Great season.
Bobby Robson, yeah, fair play.
Sounds about right. Spurs had a good time. Yeah.
They did.
Sorry, yeah, you talk about Southampton.
No, I can understand you being bored with that, mate. That's not a problem. I don't think anything else is... Yeah, there's nothing else to talk about. Everyone's okay for Southampton. Got their full team. Their full elite team is back.
It's amazing that Svensson was so highly owned at one point, wasn't it? Really?
Yeah, no. So his main strength comes in the fact that he plays every game, but
yeah, never liked him.
Hatred for Svensson. He's sweet. You can't hate anyone Swedish. They're so placid and chilled. Well, most of the people I've met, I don't know. That's a very generalisation, isn't it? I take that back instantly.
No, there they are. They're nice, lovely people.
Well covered, thank you. Sunderland have just got Michael Gray still out for a month, and everyone else is 100%. This is still away with South Africa. So yeah, hopefully maybe only one game more or something, depending if they get knocked out. But apart from that, everyone's good. Everyone's gravy.
Yeah, you would have thought they would have bought Isa after the African Cup of Nations, really.
Yeah, see, they didn't. They're not using your mindset, Andy.
That's terrible.
It's not like Wenger where we're in this title chase and all that stuff. No, they want to purchase this just before the African Nations, just before he gets like a season-ending injury in it.
Yeah,
brilliant. Spurs are looking relatively healthy for them. Richards is just a few days away now at 90%, so I really hope they don't play him and get him injured again, because they desperately need him back. So yeah, good news though for Spurs.
Yeah, they've really missed him. Like Dean Richards was holding that defence together, really.
Yeah,
and
they didn't really keep that many clean sheets with him, but without him, Jesus, it's been painful. The other news is Rebrov is back 100%. So again, another premium striker is thrown into the mix. They're obviously away to Manchester United this week, so it's probably not the time to sign him. But They have got a run coming up eventually. I think they've got a pretty good one if I remember rightly. Where is it? Here is it? Newcastle, West Ham, Leicester, Charlton. Yeah, the last 4 games of the season looks pretty good here.
Yeah, it's a nice end. Not until then though. It's some hard fixtures.
Yeah, Middlesbrough, Ipswich, Villa, Everton. That's not a bad 4 there as well. It's just this middle Arsenal and Chelsea. There'll be a time for him at some point before the season's out, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's it, isn't it? Ledley King still 1 yellow away from a ban.
Yeah, we mentioned about the Ginger Pele as well. Peter Carter mentioned in the chat as well.
Yes, so finally, Doherty is back. He's lacking match practice. But we've mentioned he's 4.5 defender who can play up front. So you never know. I would have thought he might come in at centre-back instead of King as Richards is out. But as Richards is going to be back soon, suddenly he's going to be an option that kind of annoys a lot of people, I think. Hopefully not Selakovic or Rebrov, though.
Would, like, during games, I don't know if you know, like, would Spurs just suddenly go to like 3 at the back and put Doherty up top?
They rotate continuously through the game. So the likes of Anderson ends up front, Rebrov ends up at right back, Selakovic comes back here. You get Ledley King go into midfield. All sorts of stuff happens.
Okay,
it's mental.
Right, fine.
So Doherty could go from centre half to striker. Basically, any time there's a substitution, they can move players around.
Right.
So generally, it doesn't happen at the start of the game unless.
But it doesn't really matter if that's not even their position. So like Anderson could be at centre back.
Exactly. They've all got like a hidden versatility stat for where they can play across different positions, even though it doesn't show up. And some of them have got like a low number in that position anyway. So there might be like Dublin, for example, striker 20, and then he might be like defender 7. So he's got a little bit in it, and he'll just occasionally throw him in there as a result.
Okay.
West Ham, another people aren't looking at too much, but they do have a double, so we kind of have to spend a little bit of time. Carrick is 3 months, Kamara is 2 months, and Lomas is 2 weeks. In terms of condition, we're all...
Yeah, could you go West Ham, could you go James as a keeper for double game week and try and get save points, go that way?
I suppose you could, but then there'd always be the concern that he plays a 2 or a 3, or they just randomly throw in his lot because they've rotated a reasonable amount in their keepers. So I still probably wouldn't do that, and then you've got to worry about him later. The only one I talked about it before actually last week, and I think he got an assist home to Southampton, was to target this block of 3, and Courtois at 5 million is kind of just a bench option. Yeah, I think he got an assist last game. I'm fairly sure he might not have, but
I think he did. I think you're right.
Yeah. So he's on the left wing and has now got a double. So it's not a great one. You're just looking at 2 points for the Arsenal game at least. But the home to Leicester, you know, suddenly if he, similar to like the Valakaris and the like, if he scores a goal or gets bonus in the first game, then he could do okay, especially with Joe Cole being out.
It's a shame
for 1 game.
So you can't get Joe Cole in either. So it's got to be Courtois or nothing.
Yeah, I mean, Di Canio as well. Di Canio or Canute for a free hit team. If you were free hitting, I don't know why you would be, but if you are free hitting and you want 3 Arsenal, 3 West Ham, then obviously Canute is the standout pick for the ceiling. Well, along with Di Canio, because he's got penalties.
I mean, Repka's a shout if you think that West Ham can get the clean sheet at home to Leicester.
Yeah, he's always likely to get a bonus. So home to Leicester, you would have thought he probably will get bonus because most centre-backs do well in home games. So I think he probably will get bonus in that game. Again, away to Arsenal, you're more likely to get a red card than bonus, I would suggest.
So if you're saying maybe 1 point against Arsenal, then hopefully get 7 against Leicester. But again, that's a gamble, isn't it? Yeah,
it's a reasonable gamble. And they say here's one you can leave just on your bench and sort of just play in the home games. So I think West Ham have still got some pretty good games. It's a hard sell for West Ham. I know no one's going there, but in fact their home teams are terrible. Ignore me. But they've got Derby, Leicester, Southampton. No, we already played Southampton. Leicester and Derby is the only decent 2 home games. So ignore everything I said. I think that's it.
Yeah, can we have a look at job security?
Let's do it.
Because I know Jean Sagana is under pressure.
Oh yes, so he's bumped up 1 notch, hasn't he? And are they home to Man United? No, they already did that. Who are Fulham playing?
They have got Aston Villa away.
Away to Aston Villa.
But normally if someone's insecure, they win a game and then they'll get sacked.
Yeah. Yeah. Once they're on this, it's pretty much a death sentence, isn't it? In most circumstances.
Yeah.
So you would have thought at some point Tigana might get replaced. But yeah,
It'd be nice. It'd be nice to see Fulham get out of it. Tigana keep his job, but
well, he's got Stolz's back now. And they've signed a load of defenders, so maybe things will improve.
People saying was Gardner 100%. I believe he was.
Yes, he was 100%. Yeah,
100%.
Yeah, he was 100%.
Player stats. Should we just look at yellow cards? Anyone near 10 yellow cards?
Yeah, you're right as well. 6 clear for Viduka. Referee stats. Oh, you want for players, sorry, don't you?
Yeah.
All players, yeah. So, Ekiog's obviously not here anymore. Joe Cole's got his ban. Luke Young's got his ban this week, hasn't he?
So no one's close to 10 at all, no.
No.
Is Uriah Rennie reffing a game this week? Because we don't know how bad that will be.
We have to look at each individual team, don't we? Uriah Rennie is doing the Arsenal game.
Oh, he's doing the Arsenal game.
Thierry Henry red. Already had one of them. No, I wish you'd never made me click that.
They have put him at Highbury. Unbelievable. I didn't know that at all. That is... Oh, who's going to get sent off that game?
Let's just see if he's anywhere else. Because as you told me before, they actually manage multiple games at the same time sometimes, don't they?
Yeah, Graham I've seen referees have 60 games in the season.
Steve Lodge. Graham Pole's twice there. Steve Lodge again.
Steve Lodge again.
Why have I missed that? Can't even see the refs on that one. Is it not? It's not given him yet, or am I blind?
Maybe it hasn't given it.
No, it's not given that one yet.
So stay ahead. So, but Uriah Rennie is at Arsenal. That's interesting.
Yeah, but it could go both ways. You could send off a Charlton player, and then suddenly, well, I say that actually, when that happens a lot of the time, Arsenal will just chill with their 1-0 for the entire time. Oh, I wish you'd never made me click that, Andy.
Sorry, Luke. Your team's locked in.
Yeah, exactly. Does anyone have any requests? Anything they want to see before we go? Do they want to see tables? I think that's quite popular, isn't it, for home and away?
Yeah. Everyone's lost
still
at least
on.
one game. Have Arsenal just conceded 5 at home? Is that Arsenal at 5 at home? Yeah.
5 goals at home, yeah. Man United 9, Leeds 7, Middlesbrough. And Man United and Arsenal comfortably the best defences at home. Away from home. We knew this before the season started, though. These two were always going to the top 2.
Anmol saying, can you confirm if there will be a season 2? I don't want to confirm that yet, but I'm pretty sure there will be eventually.
Yeah, I think obviously it's not up to me at all, but the guys have got all the tools they need to. It's more about timing for everyone, isn't it, than anything else? And also with real football sort of going and coming back, there's a very, very short window, so we need to have a sit down at some point, which I think we're planning to do. But all the tools are there, so we hope so.
Taylor saying as well, has Rennie had a non-red card match? I don't know for sure, but
yeah, I think he will have had a non-red card match, but
what's his ratios?
Yeah, I mean, he can make up for that with 7 in one game. You laugh, but I was playing a game earlier today actually as Roma, and I had 6 red cards in it.
What, 3 for each team? Or?
Yeah, and I think I don't know what actually 5 red cards. Or I don't know what the amount is that you need to get the game abandoned.
I think it is 4 reds. I don't know if I've had it before though. I've had abandoned because of weather.
It can't be. I had 5 and the game carried on. Although the 5th one was in like the 90-something minutes, and maybe I just didn't pay attention.
Or maybe it's 4 for one team.
Could be. I'm not sure. But 5 reds I had in the game. One of them was on the very last kick of the game, so potentially that happened. But yeah, we haven't seen anything really like that so far. We've seen 2 penalties in a match, but there are games with 4 or 5 penalties in a game, 3-4 red cards. We've come fairly close in some games, but there is still time.
And we haven't seen like a 7-3 yet or anything like that, have we?
No.
Like to see that.
What has been the highest scoring game, actually? I'm not sure. Maybe someone in the chat will remember. But there's been a 4-4, hasn't there? I think there might have been a 4-4. Was Leicester game involving a 4-4, maybe?
Were they 4-2 down and 4-4? Yeah, put in the chat if you know the highest scoring game. We've had a 6-1, but that's only 7 goals. No one's scored 7 yet, have they? Does it say? It might say in there actually.
It's
the
for individual teams, isn't it?
Doesn't it say records?
Let's see.
Yeah, go view.
Oh, 5-2.
Or
7.
Yeah, it's been more than 7, isn't it?
Yeah, so there'll be games that have been equal to it. I think that is going to be it. That is the highest score.
Yeah. Okay. We're definitely due a game which more than 7 goals then.
Yeah, there's only 1 penalty and 1 red in this, so as you can see, it can go nuts if they add a few more of those in. Cool. All right, I think that's it then.
Just quickly, just have a look at African Cup of Nations, see how that's getting on. Just if anyone cares, just to see who's out and who's quarterfinals.
Okay, so these are the quarterfinal teams. Algeria 5-1.
So there's no Algerians, is there, in the Premier League?
No, this guy can sometimes not this guy. This guy can sometimes be good. Yeah, here he is.
Yeah, decent.
Yeah, he can be pretty good. These are all obviously scheduled to play. Cameroon at home. So who's your money on there, Dave? Ivory Coast, Cameroon.
Dave,
Andy, sorry. Mind blank.
Cameroon. My favourites probably to win the whole thing, I reckon. Cameroon's on this one.
Yeah, I think you might be right.
I think
they've got a few cheeky ones. Mido. Willie, where's Rayad? He's basically a cheat game. Said is the. Oh no, it's not the proper Said. Ibrahim Said is the one. He's not. Oh, he is the cheat DM who basically just never plays below an 8 or a 9. There's Welly Rayad, who's like he might be in their youth team actually. Where's he gone? Oh, he's not even playing for them. I'm gonna have to search for him now. Yeah, this guy can get really, really good. He's got the keys, like the stats in all these. One of those players like Maxim Sigalko or whatever, as you can see, 20 techniques, set pieces, dribbling, agility.
Just starts off amazing in the game.
Flair, yeah, just like the rest of the stats don't really ever improve, but he just gets assists all over the place and goals. Where have I gone? Massive tangent. Nigeria and Ghana. Well, Nigeria are obviously favourites there.
I think Nigeria and Cameroon are the best 2 teams probably. Nigeria got some good defenders, I think.
This guy's good for Olympiacos. He can get really good as well.
PSV, I like PSV's team. Actually.
Yeah, they're fantastic. But for Nigeria, you got Daisy. He becomes an absolute beast. Really, really good.
Yeah. Don't PSV sign Robin? Have they got the transfer arranged?
Yeah, it's already arranged at the beginning of the season. But there's a trick you can do actually to stop that happening. Just before it's about to happen, in the sort of 2 weeks before, if you scout their players.
Yeah.
So you scout all of their main players. They offer all the contracts to all of their new players, so they don't want you to buy them, and then they run out of money, and the transfer gets vetoed, and then you can buy Robin after the first.
Oh, really? Nice. Okay, yeah. That's good. Good to know.
There's a tip for you, mate.
Cheers, mate. Yeah, these are. Robin's one of the best players.
Yeah, he's incredible. Groningen or whatever it is. Why am I spelling it with 3 B's? Yeah.
CM got it right though, didn't they, with Robin?
So yeah, I usually hijack that move if I can.
Cool. James Street saying, what are the chances of another double game week in the future? I think it's really high because of the League Cup final that's going to be between Liverpool and Man U, which will be a blank game week 31, which I think will move to a double game week 37 for both. I believe if United gets to the semi-finals of the Champions League, if it's quarter-finals, I think the double game week could probably be a bit earlier, as like game week 34, 35. But the chance of double game week for Liverpool and United are quite big, so save your triple captains for them.
And it's a massive shame because it looks like Agahawa's on the move, but no Premier League teams in for him.
Oh, man. Brighton won him. That's good.
That's a shame. Sometimes I've had him go Sunderland before and absolutely
Have you really?
Yeah.
But they got Gary Teal, haven't they? So. Yeah,
don't need him. Teal's the beast.
New board at Everton, Peter Carter. Same.
Sorry, what did you say?
New board at Everton.
Oh, they've taken over. Oh, yes. Okay. I I remember that now. So they've injected some cash into the team as well. However, I think he said it wasn't very much at all because their finances are still okay, which basically means dreadful.
I think like 5 million in the bank normally, isn't it? Something like that.
Yeah, so a new board's taken over, so you never know. They might suddenly start buying a few players, but I think that's it.
Yeah, Taliesin 32 double for United and midweek 31 for Liverpool, so normal game. Okay. So the League Cup final for Liverpool gets moved to the midweek before then. So maybe not a double for Liverpool, but a double 32 for United. So we'll have to watch that.
Yeah, it's far too far ahead, I think, to plan in this game. If you want to, 1 week, 2 weeks max, isn't it? You just have to kind of worry about that a bit later, I think.
Yeah, but I think you can definitely save a chip for the double game week.
Oh yeah, if you've got a chip, you wanna do that. Yeah, definitely. All right, I think we'll end it there then, Andy. If you're happy.
Yeah, let's sim day, Luke. Yeah,
let's do it. So we're gonna have to say goodbye before we do that, unfortunately. So thanks for tuning in, everyone. Good luck for the double game week.
Thanks, guys. My tip for the week, I would say, is let's have a quick look at fixtures. I'm going to say Bolton have some good fixtures coming up, so Ricardo Gardner for me.
Nice.
If I was looking to get a defender in. Yours, Luke?
I'm going to stick with my Chadwick pick. I've been bigging him up. Surely he's going to play home to Spurs and then potentially could play the next one home to Villa if Giggs is still out and Beckham's still maybe not quite 100%.
Okay, cool. Nice one. We'll see.
All right. Catch you later.
Cheers,
then, guys. Awkward West.
Thanks, guys.
Yay.